I'm Abby.
I'm Allie. We're the Rannick Twins, and this is Oops, I Arted, a part of the Hayden Collins Intelligence Syndicate. We're back again, part 2 of the Oops, I Arted Spooktacular. And we're going to be talking about John Wayne Gacy.
Okay, so I'm a huge true crime advocate.
I don't know if advocate's the right word. A fan.
Yeah, I'm really into listening to true crime, so much so that I actually have to stop sometimes because it gives me nightmares. Anybody that's into true crime knows about John Wayne Gacy. A lot of people that don't know about true crime and just are interested in pop culture know about John Wayne Gacy.
We're going to be talking about John Wayne Gacy's infamous paintings and less about the fact that he murdered 33 boys and buried them in his basement.
Yeah, so as far as I'm familiar, when I think of John Wayne Gacy's art, I think of Pogo the Clown. Very colorful,
primary,
flat, folk art feeling.
Yeah, and we're going to get into the specifics of that too. So let's just dive right into it, shall we?
I'm excited.
Okay, so he was born March 17th, 1942 in Chicago.
Good start.
You know, he managed a couple of KFC joints, which I thought was kind of interesting. He also had a side gig as Pogo the Clown, where he would dress up for kids' birthday parties back when it was cool to have a clown at a birthday party, I guess.
I want a clown at my birthday party.
Anyways, he's most famous or infamous for killing 33 boys and burying them in his basement in Norwood Park. By the way, that house is for sale. Actually, so they tore down John Wayne Gacy's house and built a new house on the property, and that's the house that's for sale.
Okay.
But it's still on John Wayne Gacy's property. Anyways, we're just gonna look past this whole backstory that he killed 33 people because
if you're interested in hearing about John Wayne Gacy's adventures in being an absolute horrible person, I would suggest going to
Last Podcast on the Left, My Favorite Murder.
Super vulgar, but they're hilarious. My Favorite Murder. Less vulgar, also equally hilarious.
There probably are more cut and dry podcasts out there that you could find
factual.
This on.
Check them out if you're interested in true crime. They're interesting.
Yeah, so Gacy was tried and convicted for, I think, 20 of the murders of the boys, and he was put on death row. He was sentenced to death row, which was arguably one of the best things that ever happened to him.
Yeah, it's... Okay. Well, what else you got to do in prison? Lift weights, read books, and paint?
Yeah, so he was gifted a painting set that just, he totally, took it and ran with it. But a lot of his paintings included him as Pogo the Clown, or some version of a clown, whether it be a skull with like a weird creepy clown ruffle on it, with a party hat, stuff like that. And he also painted a lot of skulls. My favorite is the sex skull. Have you seen that one?
No, but that's...
So, the sex skull, most notably, is a skull made of, like, nude men and women and men and women's body parts.
Okay.
It's a great concept coming from a serial killer.
Sounds like very Salvador Dali.
Yeah, it's almost surreal.
Yeah.
So I found a lot of this information on Wikipedia, but his main muses, because I looked at a lot of his gallery, are Jesus, clowns, and skulls. And he also Ed Gein and Manson.
Wait, he did portraits of them?
Yes.
Okay.
And then he also did a portrait of Elvis and a portrait of Hitler, which I both thought were notable.
I wonder if, because Manson was alive until a couple years ago, I wonder if that...
He's probably seen it. I wonder if he has it.
Cool. There's this great documentary. I wish I could remember the name of it. I think it might be called Serial Killer Culture or something like that. It was on Netflix for a long time, and it's literally about Richard Ramirez's fashion sense and these horrible, horrible criminals that made art. And there's this guy, he talks about how John Wayne Gacy, they became acquainted, and John Wayne Gacy did a portrait of his son on Pogo the Clown's lap, which was really creepy, but also heartfelt.
So the Seven Dwarfs was another one of his favorite muses to paint.
Okay, so Jesus,
the
seven
clowns,
obviously,
skulls.
Okay,
and then he painted Elvis, Hitler, Ed Gein, and Manson all as kind of one-offs. But his art style would be described as pop art. He's got a very good sense of primary colors, and he's using famous, notable people like Manson and Gein and Hitler as vehicles for his art. So I think that is the dictionary definition of pop art. But I heard the term art brut thrown around. Do you know what that means? Because I
I've heard it.
Okay.
I want to hear what you think, and then I might tell you what I think.
So it's French for raw art.
Okay.
And people call it outsider art. So it's graffiti.
Oh, so it's like low art.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
People are like, that's not art. And it's like, well,
yeah, it's like what people said about Andy Warhol and freaking Will Watchman comic and all that. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Art is art, and I'll fight anybody about it.
So he was executed May 10th, 1994 by lethal injection.
Okay.
And so since his death, his art has really really gain popularity, much like outsider art does. Most of those guys don't get famous until after they die. But the reason that John Wayne Gacy's death caused so much popularity with his paintings is because about 20 of them went into auction 4 days after he died.
Oh,
so this is all fresh on the mind.
He Van Gogh'd it.
Yeah, but wait, the story gets interesting. So let's back up a little bit. The state of Illinois sued Gacy in October of 1993, about 7 months before his execution, saying, hey, you can't sell stuff in prison and make money.
Yeah, and I remember my father, he was like, oh, you're the king of commissary.
Yeah.
You know, what are you gonna do, spend that money on flip-flops and
Bro,
like,
I got 20 pairs of shower shoes. Yeah.
You just clear out the commissary and start selling it.
But I mean, he was thrown in jail. He spent a long time in jail.
Yeah, I mean, I guess everybody's got their hustle, but you can't be that.
He was sentenced March of 1980, so he was in jail for about
14,
a decade,
yeah, 15,
you know?
14 years.
And they stopped him 7 months before his death, so he had already made his money.
Were people buying them outside of the prison?
He was commissioning art.
Oh.
Yes, and we'll get into that in our bonus story. So anyways, the auction, May 14th, 1994, 4 days after his execution, an auction was held for Gacy's paintings where a businessman named Joseph Roth bid on and successfully purchased, and I'm not sure on the number, it's between 6 and 20 paintings. I found a 1994 Chicago Tribune article that I read. I will get some of this information from as well. But he bid on and successfully purchased a number of John Wayne Gacy paintings, and he had one intention. Do you want to
burning them?
Burn them! He was gonna burn them! This New York gallery collector guy was like, I don't know, bro. I think we might need to hang on to these. And Joseph Roth, he's quoted as saying, they're weird. They're scary.
Do you think this lawyer do you think he came in thinking he was going to buy as many paintings
Oh,
as he
yes.
could to burn them?
Yes, that was his goal. So he wanted to burn them in order to, quote, get them off the face of the earth. But since it was so fresh on the mind, he got a standing ovation at the auction when he told everybody what he was going to do with the paintings. People were so gung-ho. They were like, yeah, burn those paintings.
Was it this execution where there was a crowd of people outside of the
I don't know.
prison?
This isn't about the execution, it's about the paint.
I know, I'm just thinking because a lot of people were really, really mad about this when it was going down. I mean, it's really, really messed up. And people were, I mean, there's a lot of social turmoil happening at this point. And
well, yeah,
so
I mean,
when they
it's
were
the
like,
90s.
we're gonna burn these paintings, they're like, yeah, stick it to them.
Yeah, and the New York gallery guy was like, I don't think this is the best idea. And Roth's response to him wanting to keep the paintings, and this literally made me laugh, okay? He said, quote, I think he was worried that it would decrease the value of the paintings he has now. All right, Mr. Roth, businessman, lawyer man, obviously has never taken a basic economics class
I was
before.
gonna say, it makes higher demand.
Yeah, if you burn freaking 20 of John Wayne Gacy's paintings, that means there's 20 less of John Wayne Gacy's paintings in the world.
In circulation.
Come on, Joseph Roth, you're doing the guy a favor if that's your logic. But anyways, I couldn't find any information on whether or not the paintings got burned. But I did find, and this is from the RO Gallery. This is the only website I could find. And it said 25 paintings burned in June of 1994 in Naperville, Illinois. And it was a bonfire attended by around 300 people.
Was that Mr. Roth?
Yes.
Did that? Okay.
Yeah, because they said they'd do it later this year, and then there were towns contacting him all across the nation like, yo, you should burn those paintings in our town. And
okay.
I guess he ended up in Naperville, Illinois. But he said he was going to donate all the money that he got. I don't know if he's painting tickets to the burning or whatever, but he was going to donate all to the Victims Fund foundations and stuff like that. But anyways, overall, John Wayne Gacy, our man, the myth, the legend, painted approximately 2,000 pieces total, which is a pretty decent amount.
Now,
over a decade.
I have heard that he didn't paint.
Couldn't find any information on that.
Really?
Yep.
I can't remember who I heard that from. It was some podcast.
I bet it was Henry spouting some conspiracy or something.
Okay, but anyway, the conspiracy is that he had like a whole conveyor belt system of people painting his paintings for him, and he did very little of the work. Much hold on. An old scale master versus apprentice.
I was about to say, to be fair, most like Da Vinci and all of them, they used to let their apprentices paint a lot of their paintings, and they just did the details spruce. It's like they're throwing the powdered sugar on top of the donut and calling it their donut.
Well, there's actually a fun history fact. A masterpiece was a painting that was fully done by the master. If it wasn't considered a masterpiece, it was painted by apprentices as well.
Art fact.
And that's an art fact.
Okay, so let's talk about some of his most famous paintings. So his most expensive expensive painting was auctioned for about $20,000, and it's a portrait of Pogo the Clown with fangs.
Vampire.
He's got his mouth open. I don't know if you've ever seen that It drawing where it's like the It clown, he's got like, his mouth wide open, and there's like a full mouth of fangs. I'm assuming it's to that effect.
What if he's like smiling or something?
Maybe he is.
He's eating an ice cream cone.
My favorite painting is Dwarves Baseball.
Okay.
It's the 7 Dwarves versus the Cubs. It's kind of a top view of a baseball field.
I've seen this one.
You can see the 4 diamonds, but get this. I found some more information, did some digging. There's signatures at the bottom. If you look at this painting, you look up John Wayne Gacy 7 Dwarves baseball painting. Just look that up in Google, and you'll see this painting with all of these signatures at the bottom. Mickey Mantle's signature and stuff. Okay, so I figured out how that happened. Stephen Koschel, he's a art dealer. He took the painting to autograph conventions and got famous baseball players to sign it, such as Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, and Willie Mays. They were not told who painted the piece.
Oh, man. That's heavy.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, who painted this? This is really good. My friend John. His name's John.
He painted it. Yeah. But again, I got this from the Miami News Times, so I can't really verify that this actually happened, that Stephen Koschel did indeed take this to convention. But I can verify that there is a painting of the 7 Dwarves playing against the Cubs with a lot of baseball signatures at the bottom. That's all I can tell you. And it's done by John Wayne Gacy. He was executed May 14, 1994. His last meal included 1 bucket of original recipe KFC chicken,
I remember that.
French fries, 12 fried shrimp, and a pound of strawberries. You're about to die.
And you're like, strawberries.
And next week, we're gonna have a bonus episode.
I'm excited.
Because I found this awesome story about this specific painting that John Wayne Gacy did for a guy, and this painting, some events happen around it that I think are rather comedic. So stay tuned for next week. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, and YouTube. You can find us at the Hayden Cons.
I think that YouTube channel is called Hayden T. Collins. That's Hayden T. Collins.
All right, so we'll edit out that other part I totally just messed up, and it's Hayden T. Collins. Well, I guess that's it.
Thank you for tuning in to our spooktacular Oops, I Arted episode, and we will see you next week.